Merchant. Cap Merchant is in for England.
Hello, we're going to be talking all things Six Nations. I'm going to be doing a review of the Women's Six Nations from last weekend and a preview of the Six Nations coming up, as well as my own experience about the Six Nations. And if you stay tuned till the end, I'll give you my 4 top players to watch out for this weekend. I also, as you might hear, have the 3 dogs in the background, so it's likely at some point you'll be getting some bonus dog content. Now, to kick us off, I'm actually going to talk about the England-Italy game. And I want to get this one out of the way because there were far better games over the weekend to watch. So, England-Italy. England went down to 14 players and put 48 points on another international team, yet still it wasn't a good performance by England, which is worrying for the other teams in the tournament because it just shows how much potential that squad has, that they can put in that score and still not be considered by most to have played all that well or not quite clicked yet. So why didn't they click? So obviously it's a new reign under head coach John Mitchell, and he'll have his own way of doing things. There were big moments in the game as well. Marley Packer getting her 100th cap, so big occasion. We're going to start off with the red card, the Sarah Beckett red. Absolutely a red, right call, good decision. They've spoken so much about getting rid of the crocodile roll and how it does injure players and keep them out for a long time. So whilst looking after player safety, absolutely important that actions like that are definitely punished suitably. So the red card for me was absolutely spot on, right call. I'll talk some more about England in just a second, but I do want to visit Italy just for a second. And it also wasn't their best performance. I don't think they played with the usual flair that we're used to. They do normally ask more questions of the defence than they did of England, especially considering England were down to 14. Really, you would be expecting Italy to take more of an advantage of that than they did. It was an error-strewn game, which as a fan watching it felt quite stop-starty. And even things like the line-out, which normally functions so smoothly for England, there was a few teething problems in there initially. Pulled it together really well, only having 14 players, and for a period of time going down to 13 as well when Roland got a yellow card for a clear-out. So they managed that well. And one of the bright sparks of the game was Ellie Kildan. She just suddenly switched it on. And in that second half, we just saw more of an intensity, more of a pace about England and then running those tries in, which was really good to see. And actually, I think for the tournament as a whole, good for England not to have clicked early on, because it means that other nations can have a look at it and think about where England might be vulnerable, because if it's a one-horse race, it's not a fun tournament for anyone. So that slightly negative starting point from me in this video. Don't worry, it gets a lot more positive from this point. Moving on to Wales-Scotland. What a game of rugby that was. Really, really exciting right from the start. And Scotland getting the away win for the first time since 2004. So fair to say a monumental game that meant a lot to the Scotland players. Now the game was so good because it was so evenly matched and was a really exciting one to watch. Corinne Grant for me was outstanding. She really took her opportunity. She looked really fast and good handoff, some great finishes there. So she'll certainly be one to look out for the tournament. Might have just given away one of my 1 to 4 players to watch for next week, but don't worry, I'll have 3 more ready and lined up for you if you stick around till the end. Scotland have always got some quite tight scores, but it was really nice to see them have a tight game, get a lead, keep that lead and tactically play some very good rugby. Although at one point when they had the penalty and they kept going for the line out, and I was screaming in my head, just go for post, get the 3, build the game. But that does show the confidence of which they were playing with. They really did want to take Wales on. Wales, on the flip side of that, they did play a good game. They had some massive hits going in. They've got a really good, solid pack that they play with. Kicking game wasn't as strong. I think they kicked sometimes when they didn't need to, so kicking away the ball when actually might have been better to keep it in hand and take it to Scotland. But some really good performances from both sides in that game, and safe to say it was the best game of the weekend by a country mile. And then finally over to France-Ireland. Now before this game, and actually when France scored in the first 2 minutes, I think there was a bit of a concern, it's going to be a complete walkover. France in France are notoriously dangerous, and Ireland did not have a very good Six Nations at all last year for them. And this brings me to my Six Nations experience. A lot of people speak about England, France being the top contenders, but Ireland were always a very, very strong outfit. So it was surprising to see how they've gone downhill since I was playing. But actually in this France game, I thought we saw a glimpse of the old Ireland. Really solid defence, putting some big hits in there. And I think they have been boosted by the success of their Sevens squad. Now on to France. France just look dangerous. They do play really on the edge. There was quite a few TMO calls in there, and there was a few lateral passes, shall we call them, that were right on the edge of being forward. But some players there really, really stand out. Bourdon Sansos was really playing at such a tempo that was fantastic. You could see she really wanted to bring in Marine Ménager into the game, especially that second try where she did the Gregan style running across. Marine runs that nice straight line through the middle to get that score. Also, their forwards looking very strong, get 2 driven line-out tries, although one of them slightly controversial because it looked like the back player had broken off, but referee deemed that it was all legal and fine. So their pack looks strong. They did do some crazy kicks. There's one of the dogs now. They did do some crazy kicks, as France kind of do, which does put some pressure obviously on opposition when they kick through, and it is quite random and difficult to field. But at other times I thought actually if they'd have just kept the ball in hand and built the phases, they could have put even more points on an Ireland side. But Ireland, the big takeaway from that, getting 2 tries against a very strong French side. So my summary of the weekend: England not firing yet, but smashing a poor Italian side. France looking dangerous. Ireland stepping up their game. But the big one for me is that Scotland were brutal and relentless and took that very important win for them over Wales in Wales for the first time in 20 years. So quite an exciting weekend of rugby, and now very much looking forward to the next round. So that was my review of the first round of the Women's Six Nations. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether you agree, disagree, or whether you just want to tell me that my dogs are cute. Either are fine with me. So, moving to the second round, where Ireland take on Italy, Scotland take on France, and England face Wales. I'm going to start off with what I predict to be the closest of the games, which is Ireland-Italy. Ireland failing to win a single game in the tournament last year and coming bottom will want to put that right. And this weekend is their best opportunity to really have a go at that. So Italy did not play well against England at all, being nilled by a side that had 14 for the majority of the game is going to be pretty gutting for them. Now they are a smart side. They will go away, they will talk about it, and they will try and fix things. But Ireland, on the other hand, got 2 tries against France, who are a decent team, and defensively were putting in some huge hits. So I think Ireland especially from their sevens girls as well going, and the success that they are having can be a good feel for Ireland right now. So I think this weekend will be a closely fought one, but I think that Ireland will actually come out on top of that game. Moving on to Scotland, France. Now, Scotland were fantastic against Wales. They were really smart, they were clinical, and you can see how much that means to them. However, performances like that do take a lot out of a team. Scotland were defending for their lives against Wales, and they were really having to look after the ball, because Wales typically are a Jacqueline team. They really want to get that ball to the clear outs, and there's going to be a lot of sore bodies in the Scotland camp. France, whilst Ireland put in some big hits, I don't think their bodies are going to feel as sore as Scotland's do. And I predict that they will come away with the win, but it will be closer than previous occasions between the two sides. Scotland in particular will be wanting to keep an eye on Bourdon Sansos with how she runs that game. So putting pressure on her is going to be key for them right from the offset. And then France will also have their eyes on Corinne Grant, who carved up against Wales, scored an amazing try where she ran round, handed off, really had it all. So France will be wanting to shut her down and not give her the room to do what she clearly is capable of and will want to be doing. Now on to England, Wales. So Wales historically, especially when I was playing, I remember they would always raise their game against us. They are not a fan of the English, and a lot of the players in that Welsh side playing in English Premiership side, so they know these England girls inside out. So that's going to make it interesting as well, because they train with them week in, week out. They know certain things about players, so they'll use that to play against them. So I predict first 20 minutes there is going to be a lot of niggle. I can imagine confrontations between the likes of Alex Callender and the likes of Hannah Bottoman, both really feisty players. Marley Packer I would throw in that category as well. So I think there'll be some physical challenges in there, and Wales will really throw everything at it. They might even come out and score first. That's how much I think that Wales are going to be like fighting from that kickoff. But England, their fitness is better, and they will finish the second half really strong. They are going to be disappointed in their performance against Italy, and I know that might seem unfair, but I think England are held to a higher standard. They've been professionals the longest, and they very much will want to put right that Italy performance, and they're going to want to click. And make no mistake about it, I'm confident that they will click, and that this game against Wales might be that turning point for them. England will have time to review their performance as well. They'll fix things like the line out, which is normally such a go-to strength for them, and having players come back in like Emily Scarrett. She's been out for 13 months, so getting her back up and firing and linking with other players, it can be as simple as someone either overrunning by half a step or giving the ball slightly too late. Those tiny things have a massive impact on an international scale. So some more time together as a squad to work through those tiny things will have a big impact. So I'm predicting a big win for England this weekend. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments, whether you agree, disagree. We'd love to have that conversation. Now, I did say at the start I'd share my experience in the Six Nations and just how far the game has come. Like, even just thinking about the grounds that we played on, I remember one Italy game which had, honestly, it had long grass, it had really short grass and sand all on the same pitch. So depending which wing you were on, it would be whether you were fast or not. It genuinely was like that. We played in Wales, where we played in pretty much, there was one game where I only touched the ball once, and that was from a pick and go, just because I was so cold that it didn't get out. That just like, it was really swampy. And now they're playing in stadiums in front of thousands and thousands of people, and it just shows how far the game has come, and I am a big fan of it. Also, access to the games and coverage of it so much better, rather than doing video reviews on handheld cameras at times. Like, honestly, not joking. To actually being able to get really good footage and analyze it for teams, but also for fans to watch and actually be able to watch all of them. They're not streamed, they are able to watch, and you can watch them live and properly. And that's only a good thing for the game. I love as well the names on shirts. I think that has a huge impact on people just knowing those names and talking about them, and then just being part of a conversation other than just, oh, did you watch a women's game? It's knowing those players and talking about them is huge. So big fan of all the positive changes coming in women's rugby. Now, I promised you my 4 players that you should look out for this weekend. So I'm going to start with the one I've already given the spoiler away to earlier on. Karine Grant for Scotland was outstanding, and I think she'll be really good this weekend as well, although obviously France will have their eye on her, so slightly tougher ask for her, but she'll be wanting to get the ball, as will the Scotland team be wanting to get it to her. The second one, no big surprise, Pauline Bourdon-Sansus was incredible for France, and I think she is really going to pull the strings. She's always a quality player, but she just is looking really sharp, so definitely one to watch out for this weekend. Another name I'm expecting to see a lot on the score sheet is Ellie Kildun. She was one of the standout players. She was player of the match for England, and when a team was looking slightly lost and not clicking, she really stepped up. She looked another level, so she's my third player to look out for this weekend. And my final one, Niamh Jones. I think she is going to be integral to the Ireland performance over Italy, and they'll be hunting for that win. But Italy, I am sure, will put up a fight. But those are my 4 players to watch out for this weekend. Let me know who your 4 would be in the comments. I would love to know. So that's a wrap of my Six Nations chat with the review, the preview, some of my funny-ish stories about when I played and how far the game has come, and my 4 standout players to watch. If you like this, make sure you give it a like, and if you want to see more rugby style content, then make sure you subscribe. Have a good one.